Hi there, I'm Fiona Stocker. I'm going to read a piece from my book, Apple Island Wife, Slow Living in Tasmania, about when my husband Oliver tried to turn his alpacas into a jumper. I have never been a knitter. It's a recessive gene and Oliver accepted that about me. But a couple of years on from getting his own alpacas, he had bags of fleece languishing in his workshop with nary a piece of knitwear to show for them. Finally, at a scrubby farmer's market in Ulverston, Oliver had a chance encounter with a woman selling alpaca garments who agreed to spin and knit his fleece for him. A small, wild-looking person with an intense manner, heavily lined skin and wiry hair. She lived up Golden Valley in a shack. There was no running water or electricity. All communication would have to be by post, she said. "I doesn't hold with shit like email," she added. "Turns you sick, it does." She didn't seem a natural choice to me for a mission as complex and deft as the knitting of a jumper. But it was Oliver's fleece, Oliver's jumper, and his choice of a knitting partner. She was certainly offering a knockdown price, an element upon which he frequently based his consumer choices, not always with the best results. A day or two after the market, Oliver parcelled up some black fleece from Lorna the grumpy alpaca and sent it off to the wild woman on her mountain. A week or two later, he received a letter on lined paper torn from a spiral notepad. She had a couple of brief questions. How long did he want the body of his jumper to be? How long did he want the sleeves? What sort of a neckline did he want? Oliver took measurements diligently, wrote them down, and sent them back by return of post. I had my suspicions about this process. It didn't sound as if there was a pattern involved. Even as a non-knitter, after years of seeing my mother's hit and miss results from going off-piste, I knew this was a risky strategy. Still, we waited with a sense of optimistic anticipation, mostly Oliver, and at last the jumper arrived. He put it on and a silence fell over the room as Daisy, Kit and I tried very hard to admire his newly woolen-clad form. "What do you think?" he inquired of us anxiously. He turned his torso this way and that, shifted from one leg to another. On the few occasions I'd been shopping with Oliver, I'd got used to the odd and completely unnatural movements he made when he was trying something on in a shop and coming out of the changing room to have it looked at. It was a series of leg-lifting, torso-swirling movements that he never made anywhere else, a bit like looking at the origins of Morris dancing. I tried to ignore these movements now and concentrate on the jumper. "Well, it's got quite a nice homemade feel about it," I offered. "It's quite like a dress," Daisy added. The jumper was certainly rustic, if that's what Oliver had been aiming for. Knitted with no side seams, it hung in a gentle swirl around him, getting wider as it fell. The sleeves were gathered at the shoulder seam and billowed curiously on the upper arm. They narrowed towards the forearm in the style of an Elizabethan gentleman's shirt. It was all rather odd, almost as if it had been knitted by someone without the aid of electric lighting, or full-length mirrors, or a pattern. "Is it nice and warm?" I asked desperately. "It's quite comfy," replied Oliver, equally as desperate. "Not sure about these arms, though," he mumbled, looking down at them. "Do you think I could send it back and get her to re-knit them?" I tried to picture the greeting such a parcel would get from the wild woman. Would she ever come down off the mountain to shoot people whose address she knew, I wondered. Well, if you want to find out whether she did, fairly clearly she didn't because we're still here, you have to read the book. And it's available through all the usual channels and from my Australian distributor, 40 South Publishing, who you can look up online, and they offer free post within Australia.